Hey guys, I'm Morthadon, and we are back for Attack on Titan Season 3, Episode 13. Alright, we are entering into what was Part 2 for you guys who watched it while it was airing. It was a split season with a break in between, so, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It seems like we are gonna be getting right into the journey to take back Wall Maria. I imagine it's gonna be some time to get there, I would assume, but I imagine things are gonna get have already been crazy, and things are gonna get crazier. We had the tease in the credits of last episode, which I'm leaving open to interpretation because I'm not gonna get mad at anyone yet. I've seen plenty of scenes like that where it's like, oh no, we're gonna get to a point where Eren, Mikasa, and Levi are all against each other, and then it ends up just being like an act they're putting on for the enemy, or something like that. I'm not saying that's the case here, or some kind of misunderstanding, or something along those lines, right? So I'm leaving it open for that to still be a thing before I get like, oh, what the hell is Eren and Mikasa? Because it seems like Eren and Mikasa did something wrong and Levi's mad about it. That's the vibe I got. I guess it could be the opposite, where Levi's trying to do something wrong, and Eren and Mikasa are trying to stop him. But I got more of the vibe that it's Eren and Mikasa's fault, if anyone is at fault. So, but but yeah. Either way, I'm really excited to see more, learn more, get to that damn cellar, and finally see what's down there, and where does the if we do finally get there, where does the story go from there? Because that was like our big goal. Obviously there's other big goals in the show too, like wiping out all the Titans and reclaiming land outside the walls and stuff like that. So there's plenty of other big goals to go to next, but I'm really excited for that like milestone in the show to come and pass. So yeah, let's jump into this episode and see what happens. We're gonna start here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. That is definitely not dub. There we go. Hmm. Hmm. All right. Hmm. Okay. Oh shit. Whoa. This is very similar to the first opening, but different, I think. Hmm. Jeez. Freaking Colossal Titan. Freaking Beast Titan throwing shit as usual. Wow. It's interesting weapons they have on. Do they have like bang sticks or something? Oh. That brief shot of Erwin and some of the other scouts had some of the ones that had died. Like one of his right hand men right behind him. Oh, I can't remember what his name was. He was the one that, like, the Beast Titan told the guys to stop moving. The Titans to stop moving. He talked to him for a bit, took his ODM gear, and then left and told him they could move again, and he got eaten. We need, like, checkpoints. Mmm. But they all have their hoods. Oh, shit. Nighttime, so it's... Hmm. Interesting that she's calling it a new type. Like, not like a abnormal, but a new type. Just interesting. The wording choice. Hmm. Ooh, shaking? Ah. She's gonna make yourself more nervous by thinking that. Come on, buddy. Mikasa. Chill, guys. Hmm. Their lights are interesting. Thought I felt a bug on my arm. I don't see anything. Hmm. That was before he even knew that he'd live. Hmm. Damn. It's interesting that, like, these stories almost... It almost, like, wakes them up. Hmm. I want to talk more about that in the discussion. Ooh. Maybe. They keep talking about it. They mentioned it, I think, last episode and this episode. Oh. Damn. That means they gotta be somewhat close, right? I can't imagine they went too far from their home to get firewood. Holy shit. It's kind of crazy. Wow. Uh. Cool. Just standing up on the horses. Okay. How do you deal with getting in and out? Do you leave your horses outside completely? Aaron has to turn to a Titan to do that, though. I mean, I guess they won't know. They might not know they're going straight for the gate. It's like, the one that's a Titan is probably the one that's Aaron. But he'll probably turn into a Titan right at the gate. I hope Aaron's fear. Oh, smart. Man, he just knew it was those two. I mean, it makes sense that it's those two. Gotta seal up the walls first, though, huh? Yeah, that's a little worrisome. Are they controlling them to be in, like, a certain place? We know that the Beast Titan can kind of talk to them a little. We haven't seen the whole Titan controlling thing come into play, either. Last we heard, he tried to do it and couldn't, right? Cool. That was pretty epic. Ah, for Rhino. Ah, okay. It's glowing ores, what their lights are. I was literally just talking about how cool their lights are. Whoa, it's almost like it was about to encapsulate him and he had to, like, pull out. Ugh, I hate the flesh hanging out of his cheeks. Okay, that's... Is this the main outer one? Oh, it's hers. I was gonna say a backup cloak, but never mind. Oh, look at it. It's like laying down. Man, I did not think we'd get this far in one episode. Holy shit. This is crazy. We still have a decent amount of time left in the episode, too. So is that the outermost gate? Like, fair. But technically, if they kill all the Titans inside now. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so I guess. Hmm. Well, I'm surprised they haven't figured it out yet. Interesting. Wow. I wonder if Armin's being trained to be the next, like, Erwin, Zoe, and then maybe Armin. He needs to build up that confidence, but he's smart. Nice. I love how he recognizes it. Hmm. What are what are we hiding? Come on, Armin. He didn't actually see that though. He's just thinking about the whole. Interesting. Hmm. Ooh. Erwin. Erwin step in maybe. Ooh. Okay. All right. They're questioning him, but man, that's a tedious process. We saw him looking through like some holes. Be crazy if I hope he's right. Hmm. Ooh. That looked cracked a bit. Oh shit! Damn! Here they are! Oh god, that poor guy. Oh shit! Oh damn! Right through the neck. Levi just went deep. Yeah, I mean, there's no way he's gonna transform. Man, freaking stabbed in the neck. Damn. Yep. Here comes the Armored Titan. Now, are they all in different spots? Shit! He turned that many people? Or that many people have the ability to turn? What? And he's gonna shot put. Gee, the accuracy. Okay. Didn't quite hit. Oh. Damn. Smart. Jeez. The freaking scary eyes. Holy shit. Okay. Wow. God damn. So they had like was that is that people that have the ability to turn into titans out there? Cuz we saw the lightning, or did he just have like a bunch, so they're all spread out. I feel like they have to be, right? How else would that have happened? Like, it's not like he went around and injected each one in that moment, unless they have like a delayed reaction injection. Oh, like images from when they were cadets and everything. Crazy. Um, this is cool. Instead of showing us like future stuff, just kind of reminiscing. But but yeah, like I don't know. It makes me wonder if every single one of those are sentient. Are they like all of like Rhina's people and stuff? But then it was like, what happened to all the people? Or what happened to all the Titans in that area, right? Like, it makes me think that did they somehow turn them back into people? And then I don't know. And then they all turned back? I have no idea. That is it, guys, for episode 13. Wow. Okay. Very interesting. I have no idea, like, are they just people that just have the ability to transform? There was a whole bunch of them. They all transformed. They have a Titan army that we have to deal with, and if they're all sentient, they're all going to be difficult to fight, I imagine. I I have a feeling that obviously the ones that are more generic looking might not be as skilled. I could be completely wrong about that. So I think there's a good chance that our like good scouts could, like Mikasa, Levi, and stuff like that, could take down some of them. Like hell, they almost took down the female Titan, or they pretty much did for the most part. So it's interesting, but yeah, he threw a boulder to block off their escape, or they can't like ride through or whatnot. But man, we got so much farther into this than I thought. I genuinely thought we were gonna have like at least 2, maybe 3 episodes of traveling from where we left off last episode to like Shiganshina and stuff like that. But man. Alright, so jumping back towards the beginning for a few, uh I found it interesting that they talked about the new type of Titan. Like, it was just very specific wording, I felt like, because I feel like earlier in the season, they talked about it as just being abnormals that for some reason some can live at, like, keep moving around at night, and some, like, go into, like, a hibernate state. But the fact that she said, like, new type just makes me really wonder if, like, there's still experimenting being done, and if they've somehow refined the process of turning, like, because obviously we know that people turn into Titans. I assume that's where all of them came from. So, like, have they refined that process to a point where, the ones that can't exist at night are the old ones that they made, and now, like, the ones that can come out at night are, like, version 2. And if that's the case, I wonder when they, like, kind of came out with version 2 sort of thing, right? Like, was that just recently, or was this like a long ago? Or is it just the way they decided to dub the wording, and it's not like maybe new type isn't right, maybe they just really meant that by abnormal, but just didn't use that word for some reason. Like I always leave translation issues open for interpretation and everything. By the way, for any of you guys that may be wondering, because I only really talked about it in the first episode of season 3, I am watching in dub. I've rewatched the show in dub on my Patreon. You can catch season 1 and 2 on there. But because I rewatched it in dub, I actually found myself kind of enjoying the dub, so I decided to stick with it. Obviously, since you guys are syncing up your own footage, you're free to put it on subbed if you don't like the dubbed. That's one of the benefits of watching in the way that I'm watching, is vice versa. If you like the dub more than the sub, you can just pick which one you want to watch, which is really nice. But anyway, yeah, curious about that whole new type thing. But either way, we have one of the other things I want to talk about was the whole like idea that Eren was kind of just sitting around looking at clouds, just kind of vegging. And like it seems like humanity, because of its living circumstances, or the way they're teaching in the schools, or the lack of like books and knowledge that's out there, it seems like kids don't grow up dreaming too much, and because of that, it almost seems like their creativity is like a bit stunted in a way too. So it's really interesting. I mean, this is just me taking the one instance of how Eren was as a kid, right? But they've talked about how like people here like livestock and things like that. But there are certain dreamers and stuff that seem to come across some semblance of the truth or the past or whatnot, and then it's almost like they wake up and they start dreaming again. And that's kind of how I felt with Aaron when Armin was like, when Aaron was saying, "I read your book, Armin, for the first time," and that's when I like started to dream, and realize that maybe there's stuff outside the walls that we can go to. Like, it's like he never even thought about it before, but after seeing that book, it was enough to like inspire him and wake him up. Like, so I'm really curious. It's kind of hard to tell because we didn't see a whole ton of it, but how like the education works in this society and everything, it almost feels like they've been trying to keep people dumbed down, right? They teach people. We know that at least we've seen like one classroom scene with Aaron. I don't know if it was school or if it was cadets, like going into the military, where they learned, where it talked about like the Titans and like their weak spot on the back of the neck and stuff like that. So I don't know. It was just really something I never really thought about in the world of this show, because sometimes I just assume we're probably not going to get much of it, but it's just fascinating to really think about the world and how humanity ended up so okay with being this, just living peacefully in these walls. Obviously, before the peace broke when the whole Colossal Titan shit happened, but it was like almost 100 years of them just like not questioning things and not caring, right? But yeah, so I'm a little surprised with the conversation with how smart these characters are. Maybe I'm missing something. It's hard to tell what information what characters have at this point, but they seem really confused about why Rhina, Berthold, and all that are here, Unless they're just confused at why they're hidden, right? Like, they said they only would have had a couple minutes to react unless they somehow knew that they were coming. Maybe they mean more in the immediate sense. Maybe I misunderstood. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. But yeah, maybe they mean in a more immediate sense, because I was thinking like, well, you guys didn't really make it a secret to the scouts, which Rhina and Berthold were a part of, that your goal was to take that wall back. So all they would have, like, I feel like it would have been pretty easy to come to the conclusion of like, yes, they're going to be waiting at this wall because they knew that was one of our main goals, right? But I think what they mainly meant is, how did they know we're coming right now? Like, it's been, probably months at the very least, if not more, since Reiner and Berthold took off and didn't have any updated information as to what the scouts were doing. It's kind of a long time to sit there and wait while hiding inside the wall. So obviously there was a point where they decided to, like, hey, we know they're coming, we need to get into our little hiding spots rather than just chilling on the wall, having fires. And I think that's what they mean by, like, how did they know? But yeah, okay. That makes more sense to me. I guess I just, in the middle of the episode, I just didn't think of it. I was just, my brain went straight to, like, how do they not realize that they knew the ultimate goal was to take this wall back? Like, how do they not put it together? But that makes sense. We did, however, block off the outer wall, which is really interesting to think about, because that means the only Titans that should be left are either ones that, if like the church is somehow still creating Titans, doing that crap where they're injecting people and throwing them off the wall, if they're still doing that on wall Rose, not Maria, but Rose, the middle one, then I guess there could still be more Titans being created. But if that isn't happening, then all the Titans that are within the walls right now, like, they should start dwindling as we're, like, killing them with the rods coming down and just sending scout teams out to kill them and everything, So it's like, it's really interesting to think how while Rose might start to really see a slowdown of Titan activity because there's no way for them to just wander inside anymore now that it's blocked off. So I'm really curious where we go with that. Like, I I know this show doesn't really get into it, but I watch a lot of Doctor Stone, and I love watching them like trying to rebuild civilization. And I'd love to see some of that in this sense. Like, I'd love to see them try to wipe out all the Titans that are within Wall Maria and start to like take back that land and start to rebuild and repopulate those areas and stuff. Like, maybe it'll be happening in the background as we go. That's very possible. But yeah, I have a feeling though we're gonna have like some crazy shit going on that is gonna distract us from that goal. Like, who knows? Maybe we don't know what the time frame is either. Like, for all we know, this, what am I trying to say? This like arc from here till the end of the show could be over the span of like a few weeks, so there might not be enough time, or it could be over the span of a few years. I have no idea. Or even more than that. Maybe the last season is like 10 years from now or something. I don't know. But yeah, I'm really fascinated just to learn more and see where it goes. And I've been trying to be so careful, especially now that I'm watching it. There's been other times where people have mentioned, like, oh, Attack on Titan spoilers, like, years ago when I'm watching a reaction. And instead of skipping past it, I just try not to listen the best I can. And at this point, I can't even remember what they said. Uh, so, like, I don't feel like I'm too affected by it, but now that I'm actively watching Attack on Titan, I'm watching other reactions when they're like, oh yeah, on Attack on Titan, and I'm like, shit, pause, and I like have to skip ahead a bit or just go to the next episode or something because I want to avoid as many spoilers as possible. And people reference Attack on Titan a lot in reactions, like in other shows, like reacting to other shows that aren't Attack on Titan. It's pretty wild. But yeah. Anyway, I'm doing my best to. I don't think I have any spoilers for past where we are. Most of the time, when I hear people talking about referencing Attack on Titan, they're referencing kind of like the premise mostly, which is like talking about what you learn in season 1 kind of stuff. So, but anyway, yeah. So I love that Erwin is starting to give like some command to Armin, and Armin is proving himself. I mean, he had a good plan for scouting the buildings, even though it wasn't the right one. But then he was like, okay, like we need to start thinking out of the box, and he comes up with this idea that they're hiding in the walls. It's very smart. Now, I don't know how they got their little cubbies. I don't know if the walls fell apart a little bit, or maybe because they have Titan forms, they were somehow able to like carve it out in a way, or I guess it is their understanding. Like Armin said, their understanding of Titans surpasses ours, and that's what makes everything difficult to beat them at. So yeah, I'm just really curious what is going to happen, or like how that all happened, but we're probably not going to find out. But either way, they even had like a nifty little like false wall that like he just pushed open, and stabbed that guy. It's pretty crazy that they were able to like paint the texture onto like a piece of wood or whatever the hell. I don't even know how they did what they did, but it was cool. It was neat, I suppose. I think I like mostly that Armin was able to figure it out, and I like all the people doubting him, and then it ended up being the case, which is gonna make people be like, oh shit, he was right, maybe we should listen to him more. And it's starting to build Armin up as a, level of intellect that the masses will respect rather than just like Erwin and some of the higher ups that have heard some of his ideas and, realize how smart he is. And I like how Erwin was like, he's one of the best weapons we have, so. But we had a little bit of the fear coming in from Eren, which is interesting because, it's kind of like what what Armin was saying is you've never really been scared before, right? Like, granted, Armin didn't realize he was scared now. He was just like, oh yeah, he gave him the cold excuse or whatever, obvious bullshit. But but yeah, like, obviously it seems like Eren has changed a lot since the beginning of the show, because early on he was just balls deep. It was like ever since he found out that he like, it's almost like he realized like, I shouldn't be the main character. I'm not really the main character of this anime, you know? Like, and now he's like scared more. It's really interesting how his character has developed from being just this big ball of confidence to hitting a point where that confidence is shattered by being introduced to ideas that are so much bigger than his own, like the idea of like the original king in those memories being passed down, using a power to manipulate the masses and control humanity and stuff like that. It's like seeing such big things. You know, he's like, oh, I can turn into a titan, I'm cool, you know, just shattered that whole realization. But it's really interesting because even before, I like that Armin referenced something from before Eren could turn into a titan, you know? It wasn't, because that's Eren's whole thing is like, oh, my titan form isn't really anything special now. There's all these other people running around becoming titans. There's these king level titans that are out there, you know, like, what am I? But he had the courage to jump into a titan's mouth and save his friend. I'm pretty sure he only had one leg at the time when he did that, you know? And it's like, hey, you did this. Like, and it was before you thought you were any like special. It was just when you were a guy that had a goal to kill a bunch of titans, right? So, like, yes, there's been a lot of things to humble you, but yeah, I'm really curious to see where we go from here and all that, and how Eren's character continues to develop, and I'd love to see Armin. Like, I imagine he's never not going to be scared, but I'd love to see him come into more of like an Erwin role where he isn't as scared to issue orders, like a little more confidence in his intelligence, even if he's not confident in his like ability to fight or any other asset, you know? It'd be kind of cool. Now, I don't know if we'll ever get to that point. It's been a lot of seasons and he's still, it's not that I don't like his character, but if he's gonna get to a commanding presence like Erwin, he's gonna have to. I feel like he's gonna have to drop that a little bit, or his nervousness is always gonna make the men and women that he's commanding nervous, right? So, anyways, guys, we got so much more of this episode than I thought we were going to. That's amazing. I can't even imagine where we're going with with this part of the season, with how fast things are already moving. But we have the armored titan out and about now. We have to find a way to fight that. I don't know if Eren can transform immediately again. I don't know how that works. Or do we need to take it out? But we were hinted at a secret, which I may have been spoiled from the opening. I'm wondering if it's like the spear-like weapons that they have. We saw a bit in the opening, which is unfortunate that, you know, maybe I shouldn't have watched the opening, but I did, and here we are. So I wonder if that's gonna be. He was like, they're not the only ones with secrets, or I can't remember the exact words he used, but yeah, I'm really curious what those are, and how they function more than just like pokey rather than slashy with their swords, right? So yeah. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it from me. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed. Check out my Patreon if you want to see more. Links in the description below where you can get two episodes ahead of time on there through the early access tier. There's also the Patreon show tier where you can catch shows that aren't even released to YouTube yet. Things like Freerun, which is going to be starting to release to YouTube very soon. Solo Leveling Season 1 and 2 is on there. Dan to Dan Season 1 and what I've watched so far of Season 2 is on there. And The Expanse for live action is on there. Check that out if you're interested. Links in the description should be popping up on the screen. And I'll see you guys in my future reactions. Bye-bye.